I believe it's going to get a lot worse. I believe that the National Guard is probably going to be deployed in several areas. I don't think he's kidding. I don't think he's kidding at all. I think he's serious about this. And I think the purpose of him deploying the National Guard in several major U.S. cities, mostly blue, if not all blue cities, is twofold. I think that number one, he wants to exert power, right? Even if the National Guard isn't doing anything there per se, the act of him, deploying the National Guard, deploying the troops to these blue, Democrat-run cities or whatever. The crime-ridden areas, of course. It's to show force, number one, and it's also more opportunities for things to escalate. More opportunities for things to escalate. Like, he wants something to happen. He is desperate for something to happen, for some kind of overreaction, for some kind of altercation maybe to happen between protesters and the National Guard. Anything, to be able to say, well, I had no other choice. Now the real quote unquote crackdown begins. Yeah, an excuse to put the boot down. Exactly. So that's my opinion. That I think that this is why that's happening. It's to show force, especially against his perceived political opponents, the blue states. Because let's be honest, like, the justification for all of this is nonsense. The justification for this is nonsense. And the second reason is because he wants an overreaction. The president's new directive was issued as he touts his efforts to assert control over D.C. and muses about deploying troops to other major cities. President Trump on yesterday, directed the National Guard to prepare for deeper involvement in any, quote, future civil unrest throughout the United States, and called for the creation of a new military unit that is deputized to enforce law, specifically in D.C. I mean, each time, every move seems to be inching closer and closer and closer, and it's happening in a grand scheme of things pretty quickly, pretty freaking quickly. Is some of this to fire up their base for the 2026 midterms? I don't know. I don't think they care. I think the point is that there shouldn't need to be worrying. They shouldn't need to worry about the midterms, because all of this is going to be moot, right? They want to make sure that they redistrict as many red states as possible to favor Republicans. They want to do as much voter suppression as possible every election. I don't know if I think that they're not as worried about the midterms because they feel like maybe perhaps voting isn't going to be an issue. Does that make sense? Are you all catching? Are you all picking up what I'm putting down? Donald James, welcome. The president issued the orders as he muses openly about deploying troops in other major cities, blue cities, and touts his efforts so far to assume the greater federal control over the district, where more than 2,200 National Guard members have been mobilized to support an expansive and, quote, polarizing law enforcement mission. This is garbage. This is garbage framing. What do you mean law enforcement mission? There's no law enforcement mission being done here. First of all, so to even go along with this narrative that this is about that this is about law enforcement is not right, because this is not about law enforcement. State and local leaders in some of those jurisdictions have decried the idea of portraying Trump's domestic deployment of the military as an un-American power grab, because it is. Johnny, too late. In his executive order, Trump directed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to ensure that each state's National Guard is trained, organized, and prepared to respond to, quote, civil disturbances within their jurisdictions, and he called for the creation of a standing rapid response force composed of Guard members that can go anywhere in the U.S. on little notice. It was not immediately clear how the orders will take shape. In a statement, the Pentagon acknowledged Trump's directive but said little else about it. The department is reviewing the order and its specific requirements. We will provide updates or announcements as appropriate. The new D.C. National Guard unit would be activated under Title 32, the same section of the law in which Trump directed Guard members to deploy this month after complaining about the city's efforts to address violent crime. Again, this has nothing to do with crime at all. Nothing to do with crime. Other cabinet officials who oversaw law enforcement agencies were directed to coordinate with Hegseth and deputize the members of this unit to enforce federal law. This is testing the defenses, so to speak, as to how they're going to get away with or get around the Posse Comitatus Act. That's what it seems to me like what they're trying to do. Like, what if we perhaps maybe deputize some of the members, not all the Guard units, but some of the members? They won't be strictly like Guard units, but they'll be deputized for law enforcement. Maybe we can skirt the Posse Comitatus Act by making like a special unit that is not part of this, not part of the normal National Guard, or what? Like, they're just trying to see what will work. Is my point. Trump has declared a, quote, crime emergency in D.C., though data has maintained by the police departments shows that incidents of violent crime has fallen. The Justice Department and the Republicans in the House have launched investigations into whether D.C. police manipulated crime statistics to make them appear low. I mean, like, again, the framing of this, like, why are we entertaining this? Why are we even why is this here? Like, I know that technically this is true, but why is it given any credence when we know that this is BS? Okay? We know that this is nonsense. We know that this is nonsense. That's called throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. The National Guard's Rapid Response Unit was first reported by the Washington Post this month as the initiative took shape. Planning documents show the administration wants a domestic civil disturbance quick reaction force with about 600 troops on standby at all times who are ready to deploy within an hour. I mean, like, again, this is all, every single step that they're doing, every single step that they're doing is moving towards authoritarianism. Into full on, like, we're already in the soft authoritarianism stage, right? But I'm afraid that's at the pace that this is going, it won't be long before that's no longer the case, and we're just outright an open and complete authoritarian state. They would be split into two groups of 300 and stationed at military bases in Alabama and Arizona. Trump on Monday also responded to a furious backlash from elected officials and other in Illinois after the Post first reported this weekend that there's active military planning for the potential deployment of thousands of troops, either National Guard or active duty personnel, to Chicago in a model that could be used in other cities. Governor Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, both Democrats, have said there's no emergency that warrants such actions. Of course, and that's 100% true. Trump, speaking in the Oval Office, muddied the water when asked about his plans for Chicago. At first, he said he called the city a disaster and saying that Pritzker should be asking for federal help. in addressing violent crime there, but as the president stopped short of saying that he would order a military deployment, saying that until he gets a request from Pritzker, I'm not going to do anything about it. Yeah, serial liar. Much. I don't trust it. I don't trust him. Yeah, like a soft fascism, right? Like, you know, I mean, well, fascism could just be the rule of one party. Like, we could say that this is pretty, like, we're pretty there. I'm talking about like a locked authoritarianism. I don't know. Like, does that make sense? Because like I feel like there's still I feel like there's still off ramps that wouldn't exist in a complete fascist dictatorship. If that makes sense. I mean, we're all still here and we're all still talking about it, right? We're all still here and we're all still talking about it. And we're all still uh we're all still able to say the type of stuff that we're saying, like I am, and like everyone on this space is doing. So hey, if that helps to kind of, I know it's not looking great. I'm just saying that I believe, in my opinion, that there is a difference. There's a difference between like a full, complete, locked authoritarian state and what we have now, which is kind of like a soft lock that is slowly turning into a complete hard lock, which we are actively trying to avoid. You're kind of right. It makes sense. Yeah, like you get what I'm saying, right? Like we still have people, like democratic people out there saying like, "Hey, this is wrong." Uh, if you know what I mean. Yeah, like a flaccid fascism. It always seems the GOP is steps ahead of the game, but people in power, but put people in power that will be loyal. Yep. How am I supposed to sleep at night, Carlos? With hope, folks. You know, as bad as all this seems, it's not. It's not 100% GG, and hope is a form of resistance too. So don't let them take that from you.